Previously on Talk That Talk.
Like Quan, and then you give them that same exact college degree to a person that can barely blow their fucking nose, better yet, teach somebody's students or play their instrument, then you gotta weigh the two against each other. I got Quan, who's a good band director, but I got Jack, Vanessa, Teddy, Steve, whoever, 5-6 people that came in and were not good. You know what I'm saying? I can hold that up. I mean, I'm sorry. When Jerry Junkin signs off on somebody from UT, they get the goddamn on job. That ain't no question about it. You get your doctorate from UT, you're going to be at somebody's college that following semester. That's the cachet we have to start putting out into these school systems. We have to graduate qualified people that know what's going on. They have to be going to conferences. They have to be on their horn still. They have to be doing all these things to get better. They can't graduate and say, okay, I'm about to have my band cranking it up. Winter, fall, spring, summer, every season all. And then when it's time to do wind ensemble, they in there playing Tall Cedars or Hot Cross Buns with a high school band. Like that's unacceptable. And that's not the white man discriminating. That's you not being good enough. And we have to be able to call both of those things out. Go ahead, bro.
No, but that's why that's why it's crazy, because that same particular person that you're speaking about, I had to have conversations with him myself to honestly alter his mentality. Because sometimes, like you say, all kinfolk ain't skinfolk. Well, sometimes when you're submerged around a particular culture of people, Black folks is the most adaptable humans on the earth. We adapt to wherever. We can go to China, real talk, and mess around and know how to fry egg rolls in 2 minutes. Like, that's just who we are. But I mean, that's just being honest. And then we'll mess around, be cooking gumbo in China. You know what I'm saying? Some of us. But the reality of it is, like Rick is saying, some of these district fine arts people have experienced, unfortunately, bad teaching. And then they assume, well, all of them like that. Isn't that crazy? Again, that's like that prejudice mentality. I mean, it's 6 of them that came out there. I mean, not to cut off the 7th, but the 7th has to prove that he's better than the 6th.
But Quan, let me expound on that though, because I think you're bringing up a very good point right now. Here's the flip side of that. Let's give all context, right? Because our students graduate from HBCU bands and they don't get that core style or that military band style experience from those schools, they're only qualified to go to one type of band. And I mean, I hate saying this out loud, man, because it sounds so bad, but it's just the truth. There are a lot of good HBCU style high schools out there. There just are. But there are an even larger number of programs that are always in rebuilding phase. You know this, Quan, you went to this type of program. Always in rebuilding phase, never have the budget to be successful. The kids are dealing with financial and all other types of situations at home. You're dealt this hand before you even walk in the damn door. And these are the bands that our students go to. I guarantee you, if you send a PV kid to the Woodlands, and then you send a PV kid to one of them sci-fair schools, and then another, and that started happening, then the reputation of PV or in these other big schools would get better. But if you're only sending these kids to a program where they always got to rebuild, and Julian, this is a conversation Julian and I had. He had applied for a job, and they hired a kid straight out of college. Kid barely blow his nose. I'm sure he couldn't teach at the level of most of us. But because he had the right degree on his certificate, that means he's slated for this type of band. Oh, that kid went to whatever school, and then our kids fall in that trap too. That's the only bands they try to apply for. If I lived in Texas, man, I'd apply for every goddamn band that came open. They can only say no. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's the other part of it, bro, is we always get pigeonholed into these certain type of programs. So there's a lot. This is a multifaceted conversation, and it's already lasted 40 minutes, about 30 minutes. So
I'll end with this. But
I mean,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I mean, part of what you just said, and this is a different conversation for a different kind of day, is part of that is too, we don't even place stock in our own HBCUs anymore. To Rick's point, we're trying to go other
I
places
agree.
and not promoting and sending ourselves to the institutions that were at one time the only place they started because they wouldn't even take us. And now we have put them in a place to be superior to our own universities. But I digress.
So what everybody's saying is absolutely correct. And then it goes back to like what you were saying, Rick, in regards to that rebuilding aspect. But why is it rebuilding? It's because when it comes to music education, they taking it out to school early. And it's almost like a 10-year cycle. Like real talk. It's kind of like there was a video, I end with this. There was a video a few years back where this guy said, everybody stand at the line. Okay, if you have both parents, take a few steps forward. If you had, if your daddy got 2 jobs or whatever the case, take stuff forward. And it was like such of a large gap, of a life gap that individuals had from color, from Caucasian people or white people, or just the average minorities, period. It's the same thing they do with us in education. It's like you'll put a principal at a particular school that was an F school, they'll bring it up to an A. That person will transition out, then that school will go back down because they'll remove that whole administration from doing well. And then it's like another 10-year cycle. If you look at urban schools, it always happens in ebbs and flows. And a lot of the times, by that time, go ahead, bro.
But I think that's part of it, Quan. I think you're absolutely right. And I didn't want to cut you off, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're absolutely right. But I want to look at it from this standpoint, too. Alfred Watkins ain't teaching at Yates High School. You know what I'm saying? Ralph Hardiman, one of the most legendary drum instructors of all time, who's African American, wasn't teaching at one of our schools. They were teaching at these larger programs, and it just popped up so that Scar had said something about his dad told him not to go to NSU. Yes, that happens, but guess what? My degree says NSU on it. My master's degree says NSU on it. And that NSU degree got me teaching Blue Coats, got me teaching cadets, got me teaching at Prairie View A&M, got me teaching at UConn. I got that same thing. And for all those haters out there that didn't like it,
interject right
hold on, let me finish because I know exactly where you're going. And for all those haters out there who can't stand to see that type of stuff, tough. Because at the end of the day, yeah, I did other things other than going to those schools. But drum corps is not going to get me a job as far as being able to be qualified for a job. You have to have a college degree to be able to get that job. And my college degree says twice Norfolk State University. So, yeah, all those experiences are important. But I am a proud HBCU graduate, and in particular from Norfolk State University. I will always contribute back to my school. Yeah, me and Julian, and you could talk about this because I don't know where you're going, but yeah, me and Julian, we talk about this all the time. We both got, graduate degrees from predominantly white institutions. It's a completely different experience. And I think there's other reasons that tie into it that we've discussed on the show before. But at the end of the day, you ain't going to take the HBCU out of me. That's who I am, and I rep it proudly. So it is what it is. Go ahead, Ju.